Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So I know it's been a while since we've been here on the main farm here at Hobo's Hollow, but I'm ready to start making some progress. So the series will return in a, trying to figure out what I need here, into its normal slot every couple days, except for the time when the VIP series hits over on the weekend. So welcome back to my main farm in FSN. So for those who are not familiar with FSN or this series, FSN is the Farm Simulator Network. It's a group of servers that are run in real time, and we get to work within certain constraints. So without going over everything at the beginning, I'd encourage you, if you really want to understand how it works, you can look for episode 1 in this series that goes through some of those details, and would not be on this map, would be actually, I think, 2 maps ago, because we started this in FS19 and then have moved to a farm in FS22, and here we are. So what I had been doing for a long time, I had put this series on pause about a month ago at this point, because all I was doing was running grass down to the BGA down there, and I was waiting to get a field for crops, and my real goal is that field behind me, field 24, and that's still my real goal. But field 26 came up, I placed a bid on it, and pretty much folks really were not competing with each other on these maps. And I know the other folks have got actually plenty of other fields. So the auction ended earlier today, and given that it's May, I know I need to get a crop in the field today. So I've got a little bit of time to go ahead and do that. This is a very small field, but this is the one that I've gotten. Once we win the auction, we are allowed to go ahead and begin working the field. So that is what I'm going to do. Obviously, I need to plow first, so I am going to go ahead and do that. But this is a very small field. It's, I think, 6 acres. So super small, especially on this map. But it's enough that I'm going to be able to get the all-important straw off it that I need to actually begin to run my dairy operation. So that is what we're going to be trying to do. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some oats down here, because that tends to produce... Well, you know what? What I may do is wheat, because I think wheat produces a little bit more straw. No, I don't know that that's accurate. It'll be something. It'll be a grain crop. I'll make a decision as I sit here and plow. But I want to go ahead and kind of get this edge here, because I also don't know how the field is set. Now, I had been debating those fields across the way, if they came up first, so forth and so on. But the thing that kind of made this one work, it's right here next to my fields, which is part of the reason I want 24, but the other reason I want 24 is there's a couple little parcels in between, which show up as 68 and 69 on the map, that I'd also like to purchase, and that's really where I'd put my farmyard. But at this point, because this field is so small, I think I'm just going to go ahead and sell whatever crop I'm making on at harvest time. I'm not going to go ahead and get a silo here, because I don't want to put anything up over here and then sell it off. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. So let's see, that should swing around. There we go. Alright, so now I'll be able to just run this up and down, and I think I'm going to get this done in no time at all, given how big the implements are, so forth. Hopefully we won't turn up any, if not too many, stones, because I no longer have a rock picker, and I don't necessarily want to deal with that on this field. It's looking pretty good right now. Normally I do direct seeding, which doesn't turn anything up, so it's just really this initial piece here that might cause an issue. But the reason I want to go ahead and do this is just for a good clean start and make sure, because I think this field also had potatoes in it before, which I know are a little iffy as far as how clean things work afterwards when you try to direct seed. So I don't think I have any seeds or anything, so I mean I'll just go ahead, whoops, I'll go ahead and just fill the implement when I go ahead and do that from the supply that I need. But I'm excited to be back on here because really it's been something I've been wanting to do, because this is really what I mainly do in FSN. Generational farming is an interesting distraction. It's definitely been fun. Definitely will, I'm sure, continue to be fun. But that's also part of the reason I'm trying to not run an insane operation over there, because my main focus here in FSN is this, because this is what is ongoing. That's a short-term interim thing, even though generational farming may turn into over a year of real time. It's still short-term compared to this. So for those who have been following, I did take a look back, and it looks like it says year 107 is when we left here, but the other thing I did discover when I was working on timing and so forth off of my FSN date calculator that lets me know when I'm heading out of town, like what exactly I'll be missing. Somehow, somewhere, FSN appears to have lost a year. So it currently says we're in year 109, but this would have been year 110, and I'm not sure exactly when that year vanished, if it was already before I put the thing on pause here. I think it honestly was. I just wasn't necessarily noticing it. The thing that made me aware of it is we were told we were leaving year 110, winter 1, and that was going to be toward the end of February here. And then suddenly I looked at the FSN date at the top of the website, and it was a year behind. So I basically adjusted the calendar at that point and took it out to move things back. But I've been running that calendar since I joined FSN back in year 50, and it's been on time with it. And so I know it's been working for several years, because that was in 2020, I think. And or maybe 2021, but either way, whenever it was, everything was up to date, and the years were all flowing, but somewhere we lost one. So I really think I've been gone for 3 years from this server, doing anything intently, actively. Again, I've been trying to kind of keep the BGA going, but it hasn't been consistent. There's been sometimes a day or two, but certainly even today, like I just got in here and once again the BGA had run empty. Sometime yesterday we only made about $11,000 in profit yesterday. A full day runs between 13 to 15,000, so somewhere during the day yesterday on the server we ran out of time. That kind of gets you back up to speed on where things are, but like I said, it's been about, let's say 36 days, give or take a few days here or there, that I've been doing that, because I think, and it might have been a little longer than that, because even though it was mid-January where the episodes stopped, I tend to run ahead on these because I turn things into multiple episodes in some cases, because there's a lot of work that tends to get done here, and it ends up filling way too much time. It's taken honestly longer than I thought it would. Oh no, I have that. I need that down. It wasn't looking like it was plowing properly, but it was. But yeah, this is a little bit bigger field than I expected. I still don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think it's going to create enough straw. I mean, what I may determine is, hey, maybe I don't want field 24. This field might turn out to be enough. Who knows? We might surprise ourselves, but right now that's not what I'm expecting. But it was one of those, I could let this pass by, but I could be sitting there for another 36 or 72 days or more waiting for field 24 to come up. I mean, you know how it'll work. It'll be just my luck. Field 24 will come up, this week, and I could have just waited a little bit and not had to do this. But the nice thing here, unlike generational farming, is if I choose not to keep this, I could just go ahead and sell this field back. Oh, we got some rocks that popped up there finally, but one thing of rocks in an entire field, not too bad, because, oh, no, I say that, and there's another. So hopefully there aren't too many, or maybe I just haven't been paying attention, and there have been more popping up than I think. Because, yeah, what I will do at one point... No, there's more rocks there. I don't know if it was just because I had plowed it, and it just was the luck of the draw, like, ooh, it kicked more up. But certainly, if and when I get field 24, and I'm able to do that, I'll rent a rock picker and pick the field clean for that, and then come by and do this one if I choose to keep it, because I don't think it'll take that terribly long, especially if it's really not spitting up that many rocks. That is the hope. I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to go with oats, because that was frankly the first thing I was thinking, and then suddenly I'm like, well, wheat's going to generate more straw, but I don't know that that's accurate. I think it's oats, if I recall, is what tends to do better. So rather than second guess myself, because I think the yield on wheat is higher, I know that, but you also get paid less for it. So that kind of is how Farming Simulator works. Alright, so this gets that field done. So finally, I don't know if that took probably 15 minutes or so, but that is taken care of. So in the interim as well, what I have done is I have mowed another small portion here. It's usually on the other end because it's a bigger field. So I had gone ahead, I don't remember if it was this spring. It might have been in the last few days, but I think it was more toward the fall, where I had gone ahead and mowed in the fall or the winter, kind of in this area here. Yeah, there you go. You can see it now, where it's still growing back, to then add more to the silage fermenting silo, because I was starting to run out and getting down to like 300,000, and filling that BGA takes about 80,000 every day and a half or so. So it's probably a full load of about 60,000 in a given day. I'll just go ahead and park this here. Doesn't really matter where I leave it. Again, I don't have a yard that is official yet, because I don't own it. But my thought I had disconnected. Obviously, I hit the button too many times. There we go. So yeah, that area behind me where I have the seeder and the planter that I'm going to go get now is, or the seeder, the seed hawk. So this is the area that I want to make my yard, basically. This space here, where I'd put up silos, put up some sheds, and so forth. but obviously that needs to come available at some point, and thus far it has not done that, because I would have certainly purchased it if I could. That cow barn is mine, if you've not been following along, or if you've forgotten, frankly. It again has been a while. Get back here. Alright. So the good news is we've got seeds. I don't need this thing. Proceed. I'll just turn that off. I don't frankly know what to do with it. Alright, so I want oats. I've got fertilizer. So I'm all set. That should be good. But we're probably going to want to run things around a bit. But yeah, they added Proceed in recently, and it's just not something that I've seen it. I've just not used it in the past. I don't know that I really need it. I think it's helpful if you don't have certain types of equipment and so forth, but for what I've been doing, I think it's less than necessary. Yeah, this is obviously showing up as oat on the nitrogen fertilizer here because that's what I'm loaded up with, but that's obviously not what I'm doing on this field. So I've just got to obviously be careful that it doesn't suddenly start planting here, which it won't. I'm just unfolding, but I go ahead and once again run along the one side here. So we're going to get that down. And then we're going to turn this on. And now we should be going ahead and doing what we want. So it's going to be a little more clear where there's some rocks. I saw one that appeared there, but right now I'm not seeing much more. So this should now give us the credit in precision farming for not turning the soil as much. It may be negated a bit because we did just plow, but I think precision farming resets itself pretty quickly. But like I said, I just wanted to make sure with the potatoes that we got that done and got that out. But yeah, this should... I can't imagine we're going to use more seed than that on this tiny field, so I think we'll be alright. This is a pretty tight turn here, but we're going to try it. We'll see what it does. We might have to touch things up a bit, or it may work just fine. So what I'm going to want to do is definitely make sure that, again, I don't work on the grass and plant the grass. But at this point, you know, we can get the oats in, still in May, and then everything will work appropriately after that. Did I pick it up? Yeah, I did. Alright. Because, again, I'm making a wider turn. I do not want to do anything here on this field. So I'm like, I need to be careful. But I want to run one more level down here. Or one more pass. Level's probably not the best way to explain it. So go ahead and run this down, and then I'll have enough room, I think, to make a good turnaround at the end. And then we'll go back and we'll start at the other end. So pick this up so we can move quicker. And I'll line myself up over there. But yeah, so we've got a little bit of rocks, but this is nothing like what I'm seeing on generational farming, but still is worth picking up when I have the opportunity later. But renting a rock picker now, it's kind of where I'm like, it's not that important. So, alright. And we'll do this. It shouldn't be planting anything till we hit the area we haven't hit yet. There we go. But yeah, this is obviously substantially wider than the plow was, so this should go pretty quickly here. Oh, you know what? Eek. Just realized I'm gonna have to do this again. I've done this before. I need to soil sample first. Eek. Alright. Park this here. Alright. I think it's down to the south. I couldn't see it, but maybe it's far enough away. Oh yeah, it's right behind the plow there. Like, I know my soil sampler's sitting around here somewhere. So yeah. Like, things aren't reading. Why am I not seeing what I need to be doing? So, I've wasted a good amount of seed, a good amount of time. Again, those of you who know what I'm doing were probably screaming at the screen. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm just trying to get the work done, and I'm obviously out of practice. So, you know, this is still in good shape here. But some of that is just because I haven't done that much work on these fields. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the soil sampling done here. And we'll pop back in when I'm planting again, because at this point I think this is getting a bit long in the tooth. And I don't want to make it incredibly long, but you know, this could take me a good 15 or 20 minutes to do this. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so $1,950 to analyze the soil samples, and silly me, I kind of forgot how big the field was, and it's not nearly that large, so it didn't really require a whole lot. You can see I've over-fertilized, however. So, but we will get going here, and that will continue now, but at least now we'll get some readings, and we'll obviously use a little bit less fertilizer. But I think we should be okay here. If not, it's one harvest that's going to be a little less than we would like. And right now we've not been selling crops anywhere, so it shouldn't really matter, because I'm going to plan on working this properly the whole way. So I should maximize things out pretty nicely. Alright, go ahead and drop this down so that we're planting. There we go. But yeah, you can see, I mean, there's a rock there. There aren't that many. There maybe are 5 or 6 on this entire field. So it's actually doing pretty well. But yeah, this should get planted in probably 3 more passes if I'm thinking about it, because of that little bit that sticks out. But this next pass is really going to get the majority of the rest of the field done when we head back up here. And, you know, most importantly then, we will have this field in great shape. At this point, I should be able to go ahead and lime the field, because I'm sure it's probably going to need that as well. And so we will get that taken care of. Let me lower this down. We'll see how that works. I might have a little bit to fix at the end there. I didn't quite give myself enough of a turn. I think I've got... Usually 2 steps is too much. But as I said, you can see here, you know, if this was a contract of some sort, we'd be a good amount done here. 70% planted already or something. So not taking a whole lot here, but it does use a good amount of seeds. We've got the high rate. Lower it down, but it shouldn't be doing much. But you can see it's a little bit extra here of what it put down. And there we go. We need to adjust it by 15 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare. Now we're a little bit higher here. But yeah, this wasn't a great soil type. I think it's a lot of sandy loam and things like that. Where field 24 definitely has some positive potential. This is going to be on the negative side. So yeah, we've got a little bit there. That's kind of what I figured. So let me do that. We'll lower this down, move this over so that we get that. There we go. Get that last little bit planted. And we might have a tiny bit sticking out there at the bottom. So yep. So I guess I got a little bit more to deal with. That one little section's I gotta come back and get that to get everything fully planted. That is a big batch of rocks. I had seen that come up when I was plowing, so not surprising. Alright, and that gets me there. And at this point, I think I should be good. Well, I technically don't own this yet, so it may not give me a reading at this point. But it should, hopefully. I guess if it causes me a problem later, I guess it'll be what it'll be. But you know what? What I can do is hop out here and take a look at... It's telling me the pH value is good, so I might not actually need to do anything. Why is the nitrogen bad? I don't understand. Obviously, okay, that's perfect. Do I need to run it somewhere? I'm just confused. So maybe let me take a look, because I don't want to have any problems here, but it would seem... Yeah, I wonder if it's too much, and that's why it's giving me a bad... But obviously I can't take nitrogen out, so I think I'm stuck with what I have. But yeah, at this point I can't do the lime, because I don't need to do the lime, so I'm not going to worry about that. But that gets me where I need to be. I'm going to need to go ahead and spray for weeds to deal with that. And, hopefully soon they'll get in and get me in actual possession of that field. But the thing I don't know that I've ever tried is starting to work a field early like we're allowed to, and then do we get the appropriate credit on the other end? I would think we would, but I just don't know how that will work out. So I guess I'll put this over here. I had it over there because I was just kind of trying to test and see what things look like over there. As far as, making it an actual yard, to see if that would work out well. But just wasn't sure that it would. So you can see here, this is what I got. You can see it kind of has a negative yield potential, where this was good and this one's really good. The other option was this, but I'm buying tons of land that really isn't usable. So it's an extremely expensive field, but these are the two pieces that I wanted for the yard, along with 66 that I already own. So you can see what has happened with the other FMs. We do have a new individual that joined, along with, it looks like they did get our latest FM put on here. They said they were going to go to field 50, but there's 5 of us on here now. So we've got room for 1 more, I think. And then that would max us out. But, my hope is this field is what I'll be able to get. But what I was debating is, maybe some of these would be okay, but you can see the potential is not that great. So now that I have this, I'm hoping I'll be okay. I just don't know that it's going to generate enough straw to really make things work. But the target for this year then, or really probably into next year a little bit, will be once I get straw off the field, which will be the harvest of this year. I then need to get some hay off of the field here as well, which is easy enough to do. And then we've got the silage, and then I can start running the cow barn, and that means I can immediately put cows in and go from there and start getting my milk production running and get the dairy operation going. And then the next question will be what I was going to do in Shellbrook, which was put in a dairy. And I probably would just do it here somewhere in this land so that it's just really close, and go ahead and do that. So, but we'll worry about it as we go. The BGA was something I was going to do in Shellbrook. We went ahead and did that earlier. You can check a few episodes before about the decision. We've got our hayloft there. We've got our fermenting silo. And that is our setup right now. So, again, just happy with field 26 coming available. It gives me something feasible to work with to finally get this main farm going again. And so I hope you're as excited as I am to finally be moving along and getting Misty Hills agriculture back on the map. So that gets you up to speed now. And as always, certainly would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. That would be extremely helpful. It'll keep you informed when new things come up. And I will see you next time.